Hi guys, welcome to Forensic Friday, where I tell you one true crime case that was solved using forensic science. I know, how interesting. If you're new here, my name is Zahara. I also cover unsolved and missing persons cases here, so if that's something you're into, then you are more than welcome to stick around and hit the subscribe button. Now, normally I'm doing my makeup, but sometimes I do like to do my nails, and today I want to do my nails, so that's what we're going to be doing. Today's video will be featuring the gel-like soft gel kit from Amazon. All the other items I'm using in this video will be linked in the description below. You guys know the drill. The comment section is a privilege. Don't fuck it up. Also, I need to just say that I am not a professional nail tech, okay? And I am not a professional forensic pathologist. Now let's get into today's case. This is my first time using this soft gel nail kit. I've never tried this technique of doing my nails, so be kind to me because I have no idea what I'm doing. This all takes place in the year 1993 in Bloomington, Illinois, where 29-year-old Kem Wenger lived. Now, Kem, she was divorced and she was the mother of two beautiful children. Kem was a hairstylist and a part-time housekeeper and had recently been engaged to a man named Kurt Simon. Now, Kurt, he was the pastor of a Presbyterian church and an all-around good guy. Kem's two children were the result of previous relationships. One was from her previous marriage, and the other child was from a previous relationship. They were just dating. They were boyfriend and girlfriend. On the evening of May 22nd, 1993, the couple had returned home from a surprise engagement party, and they had a lot of gifts that they needed to unpack from the car, so Kurt and Kem began to unload their car. Now, Kurt was the first one to go inside their home and put the first set of packages in the home, in the foyer part of the home. As Kurt exited the home, Kem was coming into the home. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, the foyer of the home explodes. And it was such a huge explosion that although Kurt was about 12 feet away from the home, his entire body was rocked by the powerful force of this explosion. Bewildered and panicked, he ran inside of the home. There was a lot of smoke, there was a lot of dust and debris, so he couldn't really see anything at first when he entered the home. But after a few minutes, when things cleared up, he was able to see a pair of legs. That's when he realized that it was his fiance, Kem's legs. Oh my freaking God, this is a nightmare. I know you guys are thinking it too. When police arrive on the scene, they find fragments from this bomb all over the place. The bomb was so powerful that it blew out the kitchen window from the foyer. It blew out the freaking kitchen window, and that was far from the foyer. There was fragments in trees and all around on the property. There was fragments on the neighbors' houses. It had flown into the neighbors' houses. I mean, this was a really huge explosion. Now, it wasn't enough to blow up the entire home, but the force of the explosion blew up the entire foyer. So initially, investigators are trying to figure out what's going on, how this all happened, and just based off of the evidence that they saw in the home, based off of the evidence, the forensic investigators concluded that the explosion was due to a pipe bomb that had been planted in the home earlier. As investigators searched the home, they went into the basement and they found wires, they found gunpowder, they found all kinds of tools to construct something like a bomb, like what went off. They also found upstairs in the trash can an empty pack of Duracell batteries, as well as a pair of gloves. They started to theorize that the bomber most likely constructed some part of the bomb in the home, perhaps as a safety measure so that the bomb didn't explode on them as they transported it. They finished constructing it in the basement of the home. This led investigators to further theorize that the bomber had to be someone who had access into Kem's home. Now, although they did not have a motive or a substantial amount of evidence against him, they did suspect Kurt initially to be the bomber. They were thinking because Kurt was her fiance, so he did have access for sure to the home, and they thought that it was unusual that Kurt missed the bomb when he initially went inside of the home, yet Kem did not. A pipe bomb is normally motion activated, so that means that some of the materials or chemicals need to be mixed together in order to create the explosion. So that meant that someone would have had to pick it up or look at it, and they just found it very, very odd. So they just started to theorize that probably Kurt planted the bomb there, walked out, and when Kem came inside of the foyer, she saw it there, thought it was odd. Trying to figure out what it was, she probably just picked it up and it exploded on her. So police decided to arrest Kurt Simon on the spot for his fiance's murder. And Kurt Simon became their prime suspect in Kem's murder. During his interview, Kurt said that police brought him out in front of everyone in his neighborhood, trying to make a spectacle out of him, and arrested him in front of everyone. And he didn't know what to do. At this point, he's in utter shock and disbelief at what is going on, because his fiance literally just got blown up, and now he's being arrested and charged with her murder. When they questioned Kurt, he told them that he didn't have anything to do with Kem's death, and that he didn't know how the bomb got there, and that he didn't even see anything when he initially walked into the foyer. Because remember, that's what police were kind of suspicious over, was the fact that how could he have missed the bomb, but then Kem didn't? They didn't have enough substantial evidence to hold Kurt on, and they actually ended up having to let him go, and he was eliminated as a suspect. As police continued their investigation into Kem's death, they found an unlikely suspect: Kem's mom, Cricket Lewis. Cricket was said to be a very, very shady person. In fact, Kurt told police that he believed that Cricket had something to do with it, and that if anyone was capable of something like this, it would have been her mother, Cricket. He said that the two of them had a really bad relationship, that they barely spoke to each other. Friends and family members of the mother and daughter also came forward, confirming that the two of them had a terrible relationship, that they would oftentimes fight or not be speaking to each other, and it just wasn't a good relationship. They also said that Cricket wasn't the best person in the world. She wasn't the greatest mom to her daughter. With further investigation, police found out that Cricket had inherited a bar from an older lady that she had been caring for. She had been doing some sort of elderly care for. And this lady mysteriously died, leaving the bar to Cricket. Also, at the funeral, they noticed that Cricket was behaving rather oddly. They said that she was going around talking to people with an attitude. I guess she was pissed off that Kem did not do something right with the life insurance policy, so no one would be getting money. Lady, who's thinking about that when your daughter had just been blown to bits? Like, who is thinking about that? So obviously, Cricket has some issues, and she's very, very money oriented. And Kurt, he believed that Cricket really had something to do with it. He felt like Cricket was very suspicious. He said that he wasn't sure if Cricket knew how to build a bomb, but he was pretty sure that she could figure out or find someone to actually build something like that, because she had a lot of different connections, and this woman was just really, really shady, and she could figure things out like that. She would do some grimy stuff like that, according to Kurt and to people who knew her. So it was beginning to look a little suspicious, Kurt Simon made this statement during his interview about Cricket. He said, "If you take every kind of evil, roll it up into a ball, there you have Cricket Lewis." Cricket was just depraved and evil, terribly, terribly self-centered. What I do know is, does Cricket have the capabilities and the depravity to do something like that? Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, that statement in itself tells a lot about her. And Terry Hoffman, Kem Wenger's friend, said this about Cricket. She said, "Cricket, I hope I'm not shot for this, but I mean, Cricket made her money on her back." Whatever that's supposed to mean, we don't sex work shame over here on my channel, but that's what she said. She goes on to say, "I mean, yes, she had a bar, but I think that the bar that she had was bought from the inheritance of an old lady that she took care of that, of course, died under mysterious circumstances." Now, although Cricket did look really suspicious, police had no actual evidence that she had anything to do with her daughter's murder. And she told police that she had nothing to do with Kim's murder. Just because Cricket was saying all these terrible, heartless things at her daughter's funeral didn't mean that she killed her. It could have been just that she was a horrible person otherwise. The investigators were thinking, people handle things differently. People grieve differently, so you really can't judge. So, she had some way of grieving, I will say that. To each its own. We can't just say she did it. So at this point, investigators did what any good investigator would do, and they went back to the scene of the crime to take a second look at the evidence. Once they had recovered all of the bomb fragments, forensic investigators took a look at the pieces, and they found some very definitive features about the way the bomb was built. According to the forensic investigators, the explosive charge had been wrapped with metal ball bearings, also known as BBs. The BBs helped to make the bomb more powerful and increased its explosive power. The idea was that when the bomb exploded, the metal fragments and ball bearings, also known as BBs, would be moving so fast that it would increase its killing power, making it impossible for the victim to survive. So in other words, it wouldn't just blow off a limb, it would actually blow up an entire body. Forensic investigators used gas chromatography testing to find out what type of gunpowders had been used. They found out that 2 different types of gunpowders had been used. Police did not want to reveal the exact mixture of the 2 gunpowders, as it could be highly dangerous and they didn't want that kind of information just out there. But what they did say was that those 2 mixtures made for a very powerful bomb, and that they believed because of that possibly the bomber was also targeting Kim's fiance, Kurt. He may not have known which of the 2 he was going to get, or he may have just been expecting the entire house to explode with the both of them inside. This further clarified for them that Kurt had nothing to do with Kim's murder. Investigators also didn't find any evidence that Kurt knew how to construct a bomb like this that was motion censored with such power, and that whoever had made the bomb had some sort of training or knowledge in the field of bomb building, perhaps someone in the military, or who knows. At this point, the 2 suspects that they had originally in the beginning, Kurt Simons, Kim's fiance, and Kim's mom, Cricket Lewis, they had decided that they had nothing to do with it and they had been taken off the suspect list. This took investigators back to the drawing board, and they wanted to find out if there was any other potential suspects who would have wanted Kim dead. So they took a look into Kim's past, and they took a look at her ex-husband, Paul Wagner. This is normal procedure whenever someone is hurt or harmed. The first thing that investigators like to do is they like to take a look at the person's significant others or ex-lovers or anything like that. People that were close to them or around them first, they like to rule them out before looking at anyone outside of the victim's circle. Now, Paul Wagner, he was the father of Kim's youngest child, and they had been in a brutal custody battle over that child. He also had been battling with her over spousal support. Paul only lived 2 miles away from Kem, and he knew Kim's schedule because they shared custody of their daughter. It would have been very easy for him to sneak in and slip in a bomb, I guess. However, when they questioned Paul, he told them that he had nothing to do with Kim's death and that he was with his daughter and his friends the entire weekend that she was murdered. His daughter and his friends corroborated his alibi, so police had to eventually let him go. Then, while they were investigating, they found a fourth suspect, an ex-coworker of Kim's named Phil Hartman. With further investigation, they found out that Kim had accused Phil of sexual harassment and that Kim had gone on to file an official complaint with their work. Although she had been complaining about Phil and she filed this official complaint, Phil did not let up. He still kept harassing her. And it went so far that Phil actually got fired from their job because he would not stop. So because Kim had gotten Phil fired, Phil was pissed. He even threatened Kim and told Kim that he would get even with her one day. However, with further investigation, police discovered that Phil was in another state at the time of the murder. He had been in that state for about several months, and he even had an airtight alibi who said that he was in that state the entire time for a job opportunity. And again, police had to let another suspect go because the evidence just didn't add up. As you can imagine, police are starting to get tired and they're starting to get worried because they're running out of suspects here. Everyone that they're investigating, they're having airtight alibis. It's checking out. So they're like, okay, like this is our fourth suspect. Who did it? Who could have possibly done it if it wasn't these guys? I mean, honestly, you guys, when I heard this Phil guy, I was like, he definitely did it. If it's not Phil, then I don't know who it could be. They went over pretty much everyone who could have been a possible suspect who looked shady. Until they did a little bit of digging and found out that Kim had another boyfriend, an ex-boyfriend. Paul Wagner was the father of her eldest child. This guy was the father of her youngest child. This guy's name was Dale Fosdick. Now, according to family members, friends, and associates, they say that Dale was a really irresponsible father. He failed on many times to pay his child support, and whenever he would pay, they would be late payments. And they also found out that he was also in a custody battle as well with Kim, which I don't understand because if you can't even pay your child support, why are you fighting for somebody? Like, dude, come on. Investigators also learned that Dale still had feelings for Kim at that point and that he became really angry when he found out that Kim had gotten engaged to this new guy. He was angry because, get this, you guys, Kurt offered to adopt their child so that he could have full responsibility and care for the child himself instead of the child relying on an inconsistent father like Dale. This really angered Dale. It pissed him off to the highest. He didn't want to be pushed aside. He felt like Kurt was just coming in and taking over and taking his spot over. Investigators also found out that Dale worked as a machinist at a nearby Caterpillar plant, and he was skilled in electrical systems. And Dale's hobby was building model airplanes. He would even construct the little engines himself and put them in a plane so that they could actually fly, which is so freaking cool. Dale's not cool, but I mean, the model airplane, the craftsmanship of building that is cool, but not Dale. Definitely not cool, not cool. You know, he still wanted to have his family, and maybe he believed that somehow they would come back together. And once Kim got engaged to Kurt, her new guy, he was in the picture, there was no way for Dale to live out that fantasy. Like, he realized that it probably was never actually going to happen. Police were finally starting to feel like they had a solid suspect. At this point, investigators knew that this was most likely their guy. Now, the forensic scientist explosive expert that they had brought in found some additional distinctive things about the bomb. He noticed that the end cap of the bomb had multiple holes drilled into it. He claimed that there was only a handful of pipe bombs at that time that were built with additional holes in the end cap. This made that particular bomb very unique. So they got a warrant to search Dale Fosdick's home. When they went into the basement part of Dale's home, they found all types of tools for model airplane making, but could also be used for bomb making as well. As investigators walked throughout the home, they entered the kitchen On the kitchen table, they found different tools spread out, like just laid out on display on the kitchen table, alongside a newspaper article with Kim's obituary in it. What was he thinking? I have no idea. But obviously, this was a huge red flag to investigators that he was kind of toying with them, and they weren't sure if he wanted to be caught or if he just wanted to play a game with them by leaving these tools out right next to Kim's article. Like, they weren't sure. Police started to wonder if these tools were a part of the bomb making, and they collected all of the tools and took them to the forensics lab for testing. They also reviewed Dale Fosnick's credit card receipts for the past 6 months, and one item in particular that he had purchased stood out to them. According to investigators, he had purchased several packets of slingshot BB ammunition in early February and March. And get this, you guys, it was the same exact BB ammunition that was used in the making of the bomb. They also brought in a handwriting analyst who concluded that the signature was, in fact, Dale Fosnick's. They also found BBs in Dale Fosnick's basement, and they compared those BBs to the BBs that they found at the crime scene. They weighed and measured them. At this point, a lot of the evidence that the investigators had against Dale was circumstantial. So they needed more. They needed something to directly tie Dale to that bomb. Then they remembered the wire cutters that they found in his home. So investigators brought in a tool mark analyst. And the first thing that he noticed was that the wire that had been cut on the bomb hadn't been cut all the way through, and that the bomb builder most likely had to remove the piece of wiring with his hands. Now, the tool mark expert noticed that the blades of the wire cutter was off-center. He paid special attention to the imperfections of the tool itself. This would give him a very specific impression of how the tool cut. The examiner used Dale Fosnick's wire cutters to cut a piece of the wire that they found at the crime scene. He then wrapped the wire into a piece of foil to enhance the visual under a microscope. Under a microscope, he compared the piece of wire that they found at the crime scene that had been cut to the piece of wire that he had cut using Dale Fosnick's tool. He used 50 times magnification to find out if the two samples matched. And they matched. This was proof that Dale Fosnick's wire cutters had been used in the making of the bomb that murdered Kem Wenger. Finally, investigators had the physical evidence they were looking for, and they were able to tie Dale Fosnick to Kem's murder. Also, the wiring that was used to build the bomb was found at his house as well. Dale Fosnick was arrested and charged with first-degree murder. Throughout the trial, Dale Fosnick maintained his innocence, saying that he had nothing to do with Kem's murder. However, the forensic evidence was too compelling, and the jury convicted him. Thanks to forensic science and some good police work, Dale Wayne Fosnick was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to 55 years in prison. On September 21st, 2010, Dale Fosnick died after a sudden illness at the age of 48. What did you guys think about this case and my nail look? Please let me know in the comments down below. If you like videos like these, you can check out my last episode. I'll leave them linked on the screen right here. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. Please share because it really helps me out. And I'll see you guys next week with another Forensic Friday episode. Bye.